Greetings everybody, and welcome back to the Lupine Weekly Budget Battles, the show where we host our own locals with the only rule being the deck can only cost $50. No more, and sometimes less, I suppose. If you'd like to play alongside of us, we play at 7 p.m. CEST every Sunday. The link to the rules and everything is on the Discord, link in the description. I can't talk, but I don't really care, because today we're playing one of my favorite decks of all time, 1 week before its support rolls in. Yeah, this was horrible timing, I'm not gonna lie on this one. If we would have gotten this deck next week, we've even gotten access to support that makes this deck significantly better. But we don't have it, so we're just gonna have to make do with what we have. So, because we do not have access to the new support, I guess this will be the final hurrah for the deck as it stands. Maybe I'll add it back to the wheel so we can rebuild it with the support and see how much better it actually is, but for now, we're just gonna have to rate it in the old style. Most of this deck revolves around Union Hanger. When this card is activated, we add a Light Machine Union monster from our deck to our hand, and then once per turn, if a Light Machine Union monster is normal or special summoned, we can target it and then equip one appropriate Light Machine Union monster with a different name from our deck to that monster. Basically speaking, what we want to do is we want to set up a sort of odd chain using Union Hanger to get 2 guys on board, usually being Buster Drake and Crush Wyvern, which we can then link off into Platinum Gadget, which will activate the effect of Buster Drake searching out our Assault Core, and then using the effect of Platinum Gadget to summon Assault Core. Of course, there are a million different ways that this deck can do this, which is why it looks like we have 17,000 engines in here, because we kind of do. The main engines, we will go through this, of course, is our ABCs. B. Buster Drake, when sent to the graveyard from the field, searches another machine monster. C. Crush Wyvern special summons one said machine union monster, I believe is the actual thing. Yes, it is a union monster. It doesn't even have to be a machine. It's just any union. And then A Assault Core can pick one back up from your graveyard to your hand. If you have all 3 of these available in your field or graveyard, you can banish them to summon ABC Dragon Buster. Dragon Buster has the effect that you can discard a card and then banish a card on the field, and during your opponent's turn, you can tag this out to special summon the 3 pieces you used from your banished zone. This is one of our interactions. The second engine we're playing is Therion. Therion King Regulus can, by equipping one machine monster from the graveyard, special summon himself from your hand. This gives you an Omni Negate on the board, but also all of the ABCs are able to special summon themselves if they are equipped to a monster. This means that not only does this become a negate on the board, it resource loops because we can use them again. These are not once per turns, they are very old cards. So we play this and we play 3 of the field spell because our main game plan is getting to our field spell, and this becomes relevant together with AFD. Then we are playing the third engine, which is just Destrudo and a singular Dragon Ravine. The reason for this is, again, we need the field spells, and any level 4 in our deck, which is any of our pieces essentially, plus Dragon Ravine equals an Ancient Fairy Dragon. Ancient Fairy Dragon can then search us Union Hanger, and Union Hanger can get us going from there. The last engine in our deck is, of course, Adventurer. 3 Water Enchantress, 1 Rite of Arasemir, then we're playing 1 Wandering Griffin Rider, as well as the Fateful Adventure and Dracoback. We do like discarding cards in this deck, and getting a level 4 on board with a free negate is never terrible. This also comes up with Water Enchantress herself that can be special summoned to be used as an extra material for a lot of our Link shenanigans. On top of this, to making AFD a slight bit easier, we're playing 2 Revolution Synchron and 3 Tuning. Revolution Synchron, unfortunately, is a 450 card, meaning we can't really go super hard on these, so we're opting for the Searchers more than the actual card itself. Normally, you'd probably play 3 of each, but money constraints, you know? As for our extra deck, we're playing 2 ABC Dragon Buster, the aforementioned Ancient Fairy Dragon, which, together with Revolution Synchron, not only gets to special summon a level 4 and search a new field spell, it also makes Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, which is just a free negate on the board. In case we can't make that and we have to, like, normal summon Revolution Synchron or do some other shenanigans that ends us with a level 3 Synchron on board, we can make Dawn Dragster. It's just 2 spell trap negates that sometimes comes up. As for our exceeds, we're playing one Bagooska because this deck does in fact brick a lot. We have an Abyss Dweller to deal with graveyard decks, and we got a Dugaris in case we are really bad out. We're then also playing a Cross Sheep because, of course, our ABC Dragon Buster is a Contact Fusion, so this can be set up fairly easily. One IP Masquerena, one Platinum Gadget, which is a card probably most of you haven't seen. It requires 2 machine monsters, can't be used as Link until your turn is Link summoned, and during our main phase, we can special summon a level 4 or lower machine from our hand to anything that this points to. We're then playing a Unicorn as an IP target, an Access Code Talker in case we need to end the game, a Mech Knight Crusadia Avramax, who, of course, inspires me. I love this man with absolutely all my heart. This is one of the few decks where he can actually be very useful because your IP can make a protected Avramax that basically protects your negates on the board. It's fairly good. And if you don't do that, you can also do Underworld Goddess of the Coast World. The reason we play White Woman Jump Scare is because when ABC tags out, it tags out into all 3 of these pieces. We can, together with IP, use IP and 2 of the pieces plus an opponent's monster to go into Underworld Goddess, and then get the resource loop for our pieces just by doing that. Then our deck is just filled to the brim with any card we can fit that makes sense. We are playing our 2 allowed Ash Blossoms and 2 allowed Infinite Impermanences because, of course, the Lupine Weekly $50 format has its own ban list. And we're playing the 3 Joel and Lockbird because this card has been absolutely cracked. We're then playing every single way of the known universe to try and get us into our field spell. We're playing Terraforming, Set Rotation, and a Pot of Prosperity because we desperately need to find that thing, and if we don't, we are screwed. As for the side deck, we're playing 3 Nibiru, 3 Kaijus, insert any Kaiju here, 1 Illegal Knight, which is part of the Adventurer engine, but you can target this and up to 2 cards your opponent controls. They get Illegal Knight, and we get rid of the other 2 cards. It doesn't come up that often, but nobody suspects the Illegal Knight. Then we're playing 3 Lancia, 2 Darkhold, 2 Lightning Storm, and a Heavy Storm. Our deck essentially wants to combo off going first and has some fighting power going second, if, you know, the pieces align for it. The problem? We brick a lot. Mostly we brick on the last man in our deck, Union Driver, that I didn't even go over. Now, the restriction of Union Hanger is that whatever you set as an equip card cannot be special summoned this turn. However, Union Driver can banish itself to equip another legal equip target, which can special summon itself. If you only play one of these and you draw into it, your Union Hanger is dead. If you play more than one of it, you have the chance of pulling this guy in your hand where he does absolutely nothing other than act as discard fodder, which sometimes comes up. Some people play a Galaxy Soldier in addition to everything we're playing here just to be able to discard this man alongside something else to make infinity, but we chose not to go with that version today. So, we are just going to take this into locals and see how it does, but before that, let's cover the TCG Legal version, which is very simple. The TCG Legal version looks exactly the same, except we have a Harpy's Feather Duster instead of the Heavy Storm. You could opt to play 1 extra Infinite Impermanence or 1 extra Ash Blossom and kind of intersect these however you'd like. It doesn't really matter to us. Obviously, let me change it to TCG ban list. There you go. It doesn't really matter. You can play with the hand traps however your budget allows you. For us, I decided to stick with this because it's the most impactful that we can get. But if your local metagame requires you to play something like Skullmeister or Ghost Bell, pick those instead. Let's get into the game. For our first game today, we're playing up against Bosque, who has literally been in almost every single Lupine Weekly of this year, and we've just never run into him. According to him, this happens every single time he joins one of these. Apparently, we just don't get the fight. We are going second, and our starting hand isn't actually all that awful, as we find out that Bosque is on what I can only explain to be Tear Pilot Turbo. He normal summons Orpheus Scorpio, pitching a Malicious in order to special summon a Banksy Ogre. I've never seen this thing in my life. He'll activate Malicious, special summoning another Malicious from the deck, and then activate Tearalament Scream, exceeding into Pilgrim Reaper. Pilgrim Reaper will send 5 cards, I believe it is what it does. Detach 1 exceed material, each player sends 5 cards. Yes, so he manages to send Sheeran, Seamare, Scream, Grief, and Destrudo, while we send an Infinite Impermanence, Fateful Adventure, Pot of Prosperity, and Dragon Ravine. And then our last card is Duel. He chains off everything in his graveyard and gets Meta Noise to his hand. I have never seen anyone play that Tearalament card, but it's apparently real. He then gets to Fusion Summon, and Fusion Summons into Destiny Hero, Dangerous. Dangerous gets to discard a card, and he discards the Darlington Tonaco. How do you pronounce this? Darlingtonia Cobra. Whoa, that was weird. And he pitches another Malicious deck. He activates the other Malicious because for some reason Malicious is at 3 now and special summons Malicious. In doing so, he links off into IP Masquerena, sending everything away for a Mech Knight Crusadia Avermax, sets one card, and passes turn. We draw another tuning for turn, which isn't necessarily the best thing we could find, but this is probably doable. We'll activate Terraforming. Terraforming will search us our Union Hangar, which is the best thing we can do, and hoping he doesn't have any interaction, and we should be fine. We'll activate a tuning. We'll get Revolution Synchron and dump one from the top of our deck, which is an Ash Blossom. We'll go for the Union Hangar, searching ourselves the B, and now we're off to do the main combo. We're normal summoning B with Union Hangar online to set Union Driver. We'll banish Union Driver to get a Sea Crush Wyvern equipped. We'll activate Sea Crush Wyvern to special summon itself, and at this point, we can go off to the races. We will then link off using our Revolution Synchron and B Buster Drake in order to activate Buster Drake to search another Buster Drake. With Ancient Fairy Dragon, we'll now activate it to pop our field spell and search Therion Disc Coliseum. We do have a Therion in hand, but we may as well. We'll get our second Therion here. We'll then activate the Therion in order to equip the B Buster Dragon from our graveyard, and then activate B Buster Dragon to special summon itself. So you kind of see how the loop goes now. We're going to summon IP Masquerena, activating both C and B. B is going to fetch us an A Assault Core from the deck, and C is going to special summon said Assault Core. At this point, we're going to activate Revolution Synchron, which pitches one card from the deck in order to special summon itself, and it pitches a Water Enchantress. We're going to get Revolution Synchron, and then Synchro Summon Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon using him. We're then going to link off everything on the board here to get rid of Crusadia Avermax for an Underworld Goddess. This is going to trigger the effect of Avermax, which we are going to negate using Crystal Wing, and we're then going to contact fuse ABC Dragon Buster, go to battle, and punch in for lethal. That was awesome. Now, obviously, that was not the most threatening of boards, but we were still able to break a protected Avermax, which should say something. We also still have 5 cards in hand somehow. That we did a thing. So I've been meaning to try out a new angle for these videos to make it a little bit easier to follow by getting this card actually readable for most of you. But hey, we'll try it for this video. I just forgot to enable it earlier. If you guys don't like it, leave a comment down below and we'll change it back for the next one. Anyways, we're going on to game number 2. And honestly, we are kind of in a good position. We're holding Droll and Lockbird. We got a Called by the Grave for a following turn. Bosque is going first, and he activates Precious Planet Wraithsoth to search for Tearalament's Kashtira. He is then going to get hit with our fat Droll and Lockbird, to which he activates Scream and normal summons Merrily. Merrily and Scream together are going to bin 6 cards into the graveyard, which he bins Polymerization, Rhinoheart, Grief, Heartbeat, Heartbeat, Meta Noise. He's going to activate all of his things in the graveyard, getting himself the Rhinoheart onto the board, as well as the Meta Noise. Rhinoheart's going to activate his effects to pitch Sheeran. Sheeran is going to activate and reveal Malicious in order to fusion summon Dangerous. Dangerous is going to pitch a card, to which he pitches the Tearalament's Kashtira to pitch another Malicious. Malicious will summon Malicious, of course, because that's what Malicious does as he goes into Cross Sheet. He's then going to activate the second Malicious to special summon the third, which will activate Cross Sheet because Dangerous is currently pointing to it. He'll special summon back the Merrily, go into the Reaper, and you saw this earlier. Binning 5 cards from each side, we're binning Tuning, Rite of Eresimir, Therion, Revolution Synchron, and Sea Crush Wyvern, which actually enables our Regulus. And Bosque bins a Malicious, he bins the Seamare, Sword Oracle, DD Crow, Paralino, and Soliek. He then links into IP Masquerena, back into Avermax once more, sets 1 card, and passes turn to us. And we're looking at a very odd hand, to be honest, here. Called by the Grave is perfectly fine to deal with something in the graveyard, but he has so many targets that are live right now. He's sitting on Medora the Sword Oracle. He's sitting on all of the Tearalaments are technically alive, I suppose. We can probably do this. We'll go for Therion first just to have a negate on the board, and it does also hit RC, which is great, to which Scream gets activated. He sends 3 cards and bins Kaldo. Yikes. Meta Noise will also activate here, which I suppose is okie dokie. He goes for the Scream. He gets himself the Soliek. And off of the Scream, he's going to get himself a Merrily. We'll activate Called by the Grave here, targeting the Kaldo, forcing him to activate it here to shuffle back his own cards. We don't want him to hit any ABC pieces, or our plan is bonkers. We'll go for Tuning. Tuning is going to grab us Revolution Synchron, to which we also bin... Oh, boy. Yeah, so this is one of the problems that you can run into. We now hold a Union Driver and a Union Driver in graveyard, meaning that our field spell is offline. We're going to summon the C, and we're still going to use the Rev Synchron to make Ancient Fairy Dragon here. C is going to activate its effect to special summon A. We're going to activate Ancient Fairy Dragon, blowing up his Wraithsoth, searching Union Hangar. We are then going to activate Union Hangar and search the B simply because we can, but we can't really do an effect to do anything wild with it. We'll go for the Union Hangar and we'll set a C just to have everything on board. We'll activate Revolution Synchron, to which he hits the Medora, and he's going to get rid of our pieces in graveyard here, which is just Not great. His targets here were Sea Crush Wyvern, Revolution Synchron, and one of his own cards. We are going to be forced to negate this because we do need this for the plan to go through. We do make a big boy Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, linking off both of our pieces for IP Masquerena. This is going to activate B and A. A is going to pick back up a C, and B is going to search another B. Just fill our hand with stuff. We'll special summon the B off of the C effect, banish 3, get ourselves the ABC Dragon Buster, and what happens here is I actually go to battle, and I misclick. I did not mean to declare an attack with Synchro Dragon into Avermax. I was just a dum-dum, and by the time I had clicked, I was like, wait, that's not what I wanted to do. Because what I wanted to do was actually just go over this guy and go to main phase 2, because that's just a common thing I do, apparently. I fucked it up, and we're gonna take a battle for this. Don't worry about it. That was unintentional, and I deserve every piece of hate that's coming my way for it. We'll go in and we'll equip a B to the Dragon Buster, and this is what I actually wanted to do. I just wanted to pass turn here. We're going to banish a card again. We're going to have to tag out the Dragon Buster immediately because, hey, that is how cards work. We are going to still banish the Meta Noise here. We're going to set all 3 of our guys. And in doing so, we are just going to activate the IP Masquerena effect as soon as we're in main phase, which is what I wanted to do to get this and get stupid bum off board. Unfortunately, now he actually controls a monster, which means we can't negate this, which is super unfortunate. So he's just going to be able to spin away our Underworld Goddess. And there's not really a lot we can do other than pick up the remaining pieces of everything we have. He is going to pop off with Tearalament, as Tearalament used to do. He makes himself a Draco Stapelia. He has a bunch of targets on board. He pops my field spell, makes a Time Thief Redoer out of nowhere, goes to battle and punches over absolutely everything on the board. We will activate C in order to get a guy on board, but unfortunately, thanks to Time Thief Redoer, he can pitch the Reinhardt and the Sheeran, which will activate both their effects to make Kaleidoheart. Kaleidoheart was special, or rather spin away the one piece that we had. He sets 2, he gets his Redoer back, and I don't think there's anything we can do with the 3 pieces we have acquired. We will make an ABC for the hell of it, but it is going to be negated, so no matter what we do here, we are just stuck between a rock and a hard place, and thanks to a misclick, we will take the defeat on this one, I'll be honest. That was entirely my fault. I should be careful where I'm clicking my buttons, man. Game number 3, then. We actually get to go first, and it's not an awful hand. It's also not great. We get a Sea Crush Wyvern that we use for the Revolution Synchron to make AFD. We'll activate the Sea Crush Wyvern to special summon Buster Drake. We will then activate the Therion King Regulus to get our C back onto the board, and then special summon the C. We'll activate Revolution Synchron and pitch a card, which turns out to be Tuning, in order to set up. We'll then we will exceed into Abyss Dweller, get ourselves into Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, and we're sitting on a board with no graveyard interactions and 2 negates off of not having a single combo piece, really. Unfortunately, we were not able to make ABC here because we only have 2 pieces available to us, and there was a way where we could have done it. We could have linked these 2 into Platinum Gadgets, then used B to search A, used Platinum Gadgets to summon A, but it didn't feel worth it against a deck that literally lives off the graveyard. We'll go for the Abyss Dweller effect at the start of Bosquet's turn, pitching the B, and at this point, he's free to do whatever. He instant fusions into Ambaloimedes, which we immediately negate. No further punch shenanigans for you. He'll go for Sheeran and special summon it, which pitches a bunch of cards, which turns out to be Scream, evenly matched, Darlington Cobra again. He attacks into our Abyss Dweller, which, yeah, makes sense. You can't have that on board. He'll normal summon C-Mayor, set 2, and pass to us. We draw Disc Coliseum, which is pretty good. We'll go for the Disc Coliseum, searching King Regulus. Because we can start our combo off of this, we are going to do exactly that. He's going to go for the Sulliek play here, which we are going to attempt to negate. He is going to chain Meta Noise, targeting our Synchro Dragon, which is unfortunate. We do get the negate off, however, but in the graveyard, of course, Havness is going to activate, making Garura. Interesting. We'll go for the Buster Drake that we just got summoned. We'll flip back up our Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, and we will link the Regulus and the B into Platinum Gadget. This will get us a Assault Core, which allows us to get a Assault Core onto the board using Platinum Gadget. We then normal summon Revolution Synchron, and this was one of the occasions where I said in the deck building that it actually comes up. We will use them to make Dawn Dragster, which I stupidly put in defense position, banish the 3 pieces from our graveyard in order to contact fuse into Dragon Buster, and go for battle. We'll attack with Platinum Gadget, and because a monster was destroyed, Therion Disc Coliseum will pick back up our King Regulus. We'll attack over the Garura, which does let him draw a card. Ha, psych, we're not letting him do that. We're gonna punch him in the face. And now, unfortunately, if I was any smarter here, we could have almost had game, but it is what it is. We end our turn with a board of 1 negate in Crystal Wing, a banish off of Buster, and 2 spell trap negates off of Dawn Dragster. Bosquet is going to attempt to activate Grief, which gets immediately negated, and he scoops them up, and we take the first game of the week. So for our second match of today, we're playing up against J-Chip, who is on Drytrons of all things. We get to go first, so we'll go ahead and we will activate a Union Hanger, and we are off to the races. B-Buster Drake will be searched. We will normal summon B-Buster Drake in order to equip the Union Driver. Union Driver will banish itself to set the Sea-Crush Wyvern. We'll activate Sea-Crush Wyvern to special summon itself, and at this point, all we are doing is trying to find a Revolution Synchron off of our Pot of Prosperity. It's on top of the deck. That's fucking brilliant. We'll go ahead and we'll add it to our hand, and at this point, we can do basically anything. We'll go ahead and use the B-Buster Drake to make the Ancient Fairy Dragon using it, searching ourselves the A from our deck. Now that we have a Therion in hand already, we're going to activate the Therion to Nibiru-proof ourselves and get the B back into play. We're going to link these two off for an IP Masquerena, which is going to activate C and B. B is going to search another B from deck, and C is going to special summon A. At this point, we're going to activate the Ancient Fairy Dragon in order to special summon the Buster Drake, use both of them for a Platinum Gadget, which in my head sounded smart at the time, but then I realized I can't do anything with this. But we'll activate B and A here, A picking up a B, and then B searching AC. We'll then go ahead and we will activate the Revolution Synchron in our graveyard, discarding a Destrudo, which we do not need. Then we will activate the Ancient Fairy Dragon to pop the field spell and get the Therion field spell, even though we have them both. Now we have it available. And we'll go ahead and we will synchro them off into Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. We'll then go ahead and fusion summon ABC Dragon Buster, and we'll pass our turn on that. This is honestly not a bad end board at all. We are looking at 2 solid negates, 1 banish, and then 1 interaction through IP Masquerena. Not bad. Cyber Emergency is going to be activated for Drytron New 2, one of the new supports for the Drytron archetype. Then Mind Control will be fired, which we immediately have to stop, unfortunately. We'll discard the King and Regulus from hand, and now if anything gets destroyed by battle, we can pick it back up. He's going to go ahead for Zeta Algebra, pitching the Ben 10, special summoning Zeta in order to search Meteonis Drytron. This is also going to activate Ben 10. Ben 10 is going to add Diviner of the Herald to hand. Have you seen this before? It's been a while since Drytron was around, actually. Diviner of the Herald will be normal summoned, which we will negate using Crystal Wing. He's going to go for the new 2, because he gets special summoned because he controls a Drytron, and that's going to search in Meteonis DA Draconids. At this point, he's going to activate the Delta Alteus, sending the Draconids from hand to the graveyard in order to reveal Drytron or Meteonis to a card. He's then going to overlay into Mu Beta Fafnir. He's going to activate the effect of Fafnir, which is going to be met with the fattest banish off of ABC of all time. He sends Alpha Thuban. Alpha Thuban will special summon itself by using New 2. This is going to search in Ben 10. He's going to get met with my IP Masquerena to make Underworld Goddess here, trying to prevent him from having anything on board, because that's how you used to beat Drytron back in the day. We are also going to tag out the ABC Dragon Buster, targeting the 3 things in the banished zone. And at this point, we're hoping for the best. Drytron Gamma Eltane is going to be activating, pitching the Ben 10, but because it special summons from the graveyard, we can use Underworld's effect to negate it. Ben 10 will still activate searching Natasha, but as you can clearly tell, there is going to be nothing on this board, and he simply scoops up game 1. This is a good example of showing how many weird interaction ways that we end up having in this deck. Not only negates, but we can directly interact with the board, we can kind of set up super awkward positions for our opponent, and we technically went through his entire hand twice. It's pretty good. Right, game number 2 then. He goes for the Cyber Emergency, going first here, searching himself the Alpha Thuban right off the bat. He's going to activate Alpha Thuban, pitching the Delta in order to search himself Draconids, the biggie boy. He's going to activate the Zeta, pitching the Draconids in order to search Meteonis Drytron. At this point, he's going to make a Mu Beta Fafnir and pitch the New 2. New 2 will then special summon itself because he controls a Drytron. New 2 is then going to search another Drytron, which is going to be Gamma Eltanen. The New 2 does so much for this deck. Delta Eltanus is going to come out, pitching the Eltanen to summon Delta, revealing the Meteonis Drytron in order to draw an additional card. He's then going to activate Gamma Eltanen, pitching the Ben 10 in hand in order to special summon both Gamma and Delta. Ben 10 is going to activate, and this is the biggest board I will ever hit with a Nibiru. We're hitting it with a rock. At this point, we're going to make a 10,000 0 token for J-Chip as he searches Diviner of the Herald. He is then going to normal summon Diviner of the Herald, activating its effect to pitch Herald of the Arclight, searching Ben 10. Do you guys remember that play? I sure do. In doing so, he's going to activate Mind Control, take my rock, and then link them off for an IP Masquerena and pass turn on that. So the only thing we have to do with our hand is essentially find lethal, which is very doable. We'll activate Tuning, searching the Revolution Synchron, pitching another rock from the top of our deck, which is fine. We'll Terraforming for a Union Hanger, and as you know, that gives us every play in the known universe. We're going to add Sea-Crush Wyvern here because we already have a B and we don't need a second copy of B. We'll normal summon B, equip it with Union Driver. At this point, J-Chip actually does the smart thing and goes for the IP Masquerade Plane into Unicorn to spin back our Buster Drake. This sets us back a lot, but thankfully we still have plays thanks to a really good hand, but we're still going to go for Pot of Prosperity for 6, hoping to find something that enables us to win the game on this turn. We reveal cards at the top of our deck, and the last card in line is Rite of Arasimir, which is going to let us do it. We'll activate it to special summon a token and set Fateful Adventure. We're going to activate the Therion in order to get our Union Driver back. This is going to activate Fateful Adventure to search Draco back. Now we can also special summon Union Driver, and we can activate Fateful Adventure to add us up the Wandering Griffin Rider and pitch the Draco back. Draco back will then be equipped to our Adventure token. We can activate Draco back to spin back the Unicorn, special summon the Wandering Griffin Rider, and what do you know? We have managed to find the lethal. Man, this deck can do some really wacky things, but let's be honest here, that second game was definitely carried by Nibiru. If we did not Nibiru the board there, he was going to be able to set up so many negates on it, and we would not have stood a chance. But that just goes to show that, hey, sometimes you draw the big rock, and you've got to be happy with it. So, for the final game of the day, we're playing up against Pep, who we haven't seen in a while, who is currently playing, well, you'll see. He normal summons Vision Hero Vion, getting himself Shadow Mist, then banishing Shadow Mist in order to search Polymerization. He's then going to activate, or rather, be hit with the fattest Droll and Lockbird of all time, as he activates Polymerization to make Prank Kid's Rocket Ride. This is Pep's absolute pet deck, which is a Prank Kid's hero. Look, it works better than I'm making it sound. He goes for the Rocket Ride. This is going to trigger both the Dropsies and Lampsies on the board, special summoning Fancies and Roxies and healing and burning meat. He goes into the Doodle-Doo. Doodle-Doo, of course, is going to let him send the Pandemonium to the graveyard using whichever one of these it is. I think it's Fancies, special summoning another Lampsies, and my god, there's just guys everywhere. He'll activate Clock-a-Doodle-Doo in order to pick back up 2 cards from the graveyard, picking up Pandemonium and Roxies, activating Polymerization to make Weather the Washer? God, I don't remember these names. That basically protects all of his monsters. He tags up for Lampsies, and another guy makes the Bow Wow bark, sets a card, and it's our turn. I'm not going to pretend like I can pay attention to what the hell Prank Kids do, but he activates Weather Washer, which allows him to pick back up 2 of his monsters, and basically nothing can be destroyed by card effects this turn, and then he Bow Wow barks 2 for good measure to get everything back. So he picks back up Dropsies and Lampsies, and summons Fancies and Doodle-Doo. We are going to activate Tuning, which grabs us the Revolution Synchron, and now we are going to be met with the fattest L. We're going to go for the Sea Crush Wyvern, and then using our Revolution Synchron in hand, we're going to get into Fairy Dragon. C will activate and be changed to Pandemonium. Pandemonium will, of course, special summon the Battle Butler. We will bring out the A Assault Core. We are going to get burned, and he's going to send cards and heal and just Prank Kids things. Big rocks come out. We burn for 500. We are going to activate the effect of a Revolution Synchron to immediately go into Crystal Wing, which he didn't realize, which is very good. We're going to go into battle. We're going to go into the Battle Butler here. He's going to activate Plan, which is going to allow him to lower the attack of my Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, which is very, very good. He's going to send literally his entire graveyard back into the deck and lower us to 21. Then, realizing that we're going to gain the attack off of the attack anyway and go for the Battle Butler effect, he is going to tribute it now, which obviously is going to kill the Battle Butler, which we will negate. We're then going to go over the Cluck-a-Doodle-Doo, which isn't going to do anything. He's going to deal 100 damage. We'll then go A Assault Core over the Vion, and then pass turn. Or rather, go to main phase 2. Why am I talking about past turn? Because we managed to mill a B off of the Revolution Synchron, we can actually go into ABC here, then activate Water Enchantress to get ourselves a Rite of Arasimir, and we are actually popping off. We'll go for Right. We'll summon the Adventure token, get Fateful Adventure, and I did this clearly in the wrong order, because now I have to get the Wandering Griffin Rider this way and pitch the Droll and Lockbird. We'll go ahead and we will activate it, which will special summon it, which will activate Fateful Adventure to get us Draco back. This will allow us to banish a card immediately, and we're going to do that using the ABC, and we're going to equip Draco back to the Adventure token, activate it to make it pick back up the Roxies, and we have almost beaten the board. There is currently 2 negates on the board that he has to get through to do anything, so I think that should be enough. Polymerization is going to be fired. We're going to immediately stop that. We don't want any of that shenanigans going on. We're going to activate the ABC to tag out now that we have the space available to set up for next turn, because we're not going to be able to draw a card to banish. He's going to go for the Dropsies. He's going to go into Doodle-Doo, and unfortunately, he's very good at chain blocking here because of his stupid Prank Kids, which means we don't have a good negate target for Crystal Wing yet. He's going to manage to get his Pandemonium back, sitting on his very likely 10,000 life points, activating Pandemonium to go into Rocket Ride. Rocket Ride will trigger and make it able to attack directly this turn. He'll special summon a Roxy's and a Dropsies and burn us for a bunch of damage. Go into the Bow Wow Bark, going into the Rip Roaring Roaster. He's going to activate the Rocket Ride on a single chain, which we are going to immediately negate. No more resources for you. He'll trade off the Synchro Dragon by killing himself and then getting a card back off of the Rip Roaring Rooster. He's going to grab a Dropsies. At this point, he just has to pass, and we are basically just lethal on the board here. We're going to search ourselves the Wandering Griffin Rider, pitching the Union Driver that we found. We'll simply special summon it, and he realizes that there is no coming back from this one. Game 2 then, and we're once again stuck in the position of having to deal with Prank Kids. Yikes. Our hand is actually very good, though, because we did open the rock. He'll go for the Fenrir, activating Pranks, pitching the Lampsies in order to make a token, then normal summoning another Lampsies. This will give him into Doodle and burn us for 500 and special summon a rock. At this point, he'll activate Doodle to search the Pandemonium, and you can probably tell how these are going to go. He'll go ahead and activate Pandemonium, using both of his cards to make a Rocket Ride, which of course will activate everything in the known universe to special summon more Prank Kids. God, I'm so happy Meow Moo is not coming back anytime soon, because that would make this deck legitimately scary. At this point, where he gets the Doodle, Lampsies, Dropsies, and Fenrir on board, we'll simply go ahead and we'll activate the Rock and make sure he does nothing else for this turn. He goes for the Pranks, which will shuffle back a bunch of cards to the deck, and he'll draw one, but that's honestly a-okay. We're intending to end the game right now. We draw into Tuning, which is probably the best draw we could have gotten here. We'll go for the Union Hanger, searching the B. B will be normal summoned after we search our Revolution Synchron. You know, there's no Droll here because we opened the Called by the Grave. We'll go for B Buster Drake, getting the Union Driver. Union Driver banishes itself for a Sea Crush Wyvern. We'll special summon Sea Crush Wyvern. Have you seen this enough this episode? We'll go ahead and we will Revolution Synchron into Ancient Fairy Dragon with our B searching A. We'll go ahead and we'll activate Ancient Fairy Dragon, destroy our field spell, and get the Disco Dango, and we'll get Therion King Regulus. Regulus will be able to get B back. You have seen this before. We'll then go Revolution Synchron, get into our Crystal Wing. We'll go B Buster Drake. We'll use both of them for an IP Masquerena. B and C will activate. C will special summon A, and B will search B. And at this point, we are essentially just lethal on the board, but we'll go ahead and make an ABC for good measure. Banish away the token, attack for everything we've got, and that is how we clean house. Super good deck today. I don't have any right to say this because I've played this deck more than most people. We didn't really get to see its flaws, but that is what it is. Let's round this up. And that was ABC. What an absolutely tremendous deck. Honestly, I love this deck with all of my heart, but it has some glaring flaws that we didn't really get to see today. It should also be noted, before you call me out in the comments, that the deck is currently $50.15. This is recorded after we actually did the event. The deck was legal during the time of recording, and then the prices changed by a couple of cents. Sue me, I can't help that happened. We play on the buck every time, baby. Now, let's actually cover how well this deck did. Now, again, for those that don't know, I do try these decks out in the TCG as well to play against both meta-relevant threats and other things before I rate them, so I don't just rate them for, you know, the $50 format surrounding it or anything. I rate these as competent decks that you can buy for $50 and bring to your locals, even though our ban list might not be the same. We are going to cover them on the 5 basis as follows. We're going power level first, getting a strong 8 on this one. When you actually get to your end board, you have a lot of interactions going for you. You can get anywhere from 4 negates to 5 negates, and then sometimes a bunch of spell and trap negates on top of that. You'll almost always have a banish live. You can shut down the graveyard entirely, or you can set yourself down on an impenetrable fortress in Avramax. There's just a lot of plays available to you if you have the freedom to do them, and I think that definitely goes to show that it is hard to break the ABC board unless you have something very specifically tailored to do so. The problem comes in our consistency, which is getting a 4. Every single play in our deck is solely reliant on having a field spell. Whether that is Union Hanger or Discoliseum to start often doesn't matter, but it does matter depending on how many cards we need to start said combo. If we open Union Hanger, that is a 1-card combo and we can go from there. If we open Discoliseum, that's suddenly a 3-card combo because we also need to get a B Buster Drake and Revolution Synchron or any of the other 2 pieces to try and make do. It becomes a real bad problem when we don't open any of these, or we end up opening Therions and Union Drivers that we can't use for anything, or even worse, opening Destrudo. it gets real bricky real fast. And unfortunately, all of these pieces are needed for consistency's sake, because if we remove them, the consistency gets even lower. Our saving grace here is Water Enchantress, as the adventure engine allows us to set up way better than you'd expect it to, because we do kind of like discarding cards. Sometimes just being able to discard one of our pieces to enable Therion onto the board can actually save us in a tricky spot. Despite that, though, we're going to go with a very low consistency, again, because most cards, most anything in this deck is reliant on a field spell or a 3-card combo, usually including a field spell anyway. Resistance is going to be a 6, because we have so many ways of interacting with the board. If we do get our field spell, we can usually play through a lot of interactions, as you've seen in the games that we've played. Even when there's interactions on the board, we can still kind of play through them even if they seem devastating. Of course, though, if our opponent knows what we're up to and hits our Union Hanger with a Cosmic Cyclone, you can kiss your board goodbye. Sideboarding is another 6, because we have so many engines in our deck, we can very easily side out of these We can side out of these engines in games 2 and 3. A good example of this is using Dragon Ravine and Destrudo, and sometimes even set rotation. We can simply take in another piece of hand trap interaction if we know we're going second. It is very flexible in that sense. We can also go down on Tuning and Rev Synchron if we don't think we're going to need them. We can go down on other hand traps, of course, if we feel like they are not up to snuff. There's a lot of flexibility to go here. Also in games 2 and 3, we can completely pivot from doing our normal negate combo to try and OTK our opponent, again with something like Access Code or Mech Knight Crusadia Avramax, because our opponent will most likely not see it coming. And in terms of fun, I'm giving this a strong 8. This is very biased, of course, but fun always was. But ABC is one of those very cool decks that just has a lot going for it. The theming is awesome. You can expand your extra deck in any direction you'd want it to. Like if you'd want to go heavier on the Exceeds, you definitely can. You could probably stick some other fusions in here, and especially with the new support. But for this deck, I just really enjoy it. I've brought this to physical plays, like, a couple of times, which is more to say than I've done for most decks because there's no locals where I live. I've taken these to different countries to play them. That should speak for its fun, right? It should also be noted, though, as we said at the start of this video, ABC has gotten new support in the latest set, which is legal as of this video's release, unfortunately. So, with that support, unfortunately, it is very expensive. We can bring it up here. I believe it's X Cross Cannon is one of the new cards. Yes, here we go. So, Cross Cannon is $650 right now, which would be very hard to warrant running in our deck. However, its effect is absolutely crazy. If we control a Light Machine Fusion or Union Monster, which is any of our pieces, we can special summon this card from the hand, and then during the main phase, we can equip one appropriate Light Machine Union Monster from our deck to this card as an equip spell, as if it were equipped by that monster's extra effect. Also, you cannot special summon the extra deck this turn except light monsters. That last part does become really hard on some of our extra deck cards, but it is still possible to play around. Then we also get XYZ Hyper Dragon Cannon, which requires X Cross, Y Yer, and Z Zillion, which can be done exactly the same way as ABC, and then once per opponent's turn, you can discard a card, target card your opponent controls, and destroy it, and then you can banish this card from your field or graveyard and reveal one level 8 Light Machine Monster from your extra deck, special summon up to 3 of the fusion materials mentioned from graveyard and or banishment. So you could get your ABC Dragon Buster pieces back off of the XYZ Dragon Cannon. More importantly, there is the Union whatever on earth that spell card is called. There's also Union Controller, which is pretty good. One Light Machine and then Y Airhead or Zillion Tank. If a special summon the extra deck, you can add one spell trap from the deck that mentions Union Monster in its text, so this searches your Union Hanger, and you can use this effect of Union Control once per turn, and then once per turn you get main phase, you can special summon Light Machine or normal monster from your hand, similar to how AFD works. Let me see if I can find the actual Union card, though, because there is a spell card that is absolutely insane now. There it is. Union Activation. Send one Light Machine normal or Union monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard, then add one Light Machine monster with the same attack but a different original name. If you special summon 3 Light Machine monsters at the same time while this card's in your graveyard, you can banish this card and add one monster with 3,000 or more attack from your deck to your hand. Then immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon that monster. There's so many shenanigans you can do with Union Activation, and being able to get an additional interaction off of getting your pieces back onto the board is crazy. Unfortunately, this is another $5 card, so for our format, this is going to be really hard to fit in there. But if you are looking to play this deck, I highly suggest looking into the new support. It makes it so much better. For our format, though, this deck is going to end off on a very strong C rank, actually sharing its score with the Shark deck, which I think is kind of fitting. Sharks have the same sort of game plan of flooding the board with a bunch of cool interactions, and ABC does that too. They happen to be more consistent, but their end board slightly easier to break. You can pick your poison. Go watch the Shark video if you want to see me play that one. For now, though, we do have to go back and spin the wheel, because we have a new entry on it that I'm not happy about. Alright, welcome back to the Wheel of Decks. We have a new supporter who has joined in only to make fun of me. Dan has once again joined up as a member with the, the traditional joke of 10 American dollars, except it's 5 American dollars this time, because of a comment left on one of these earlier videos asking me if I could teach them how to play Watts. Watts is not a deck that I would consider playable at this point, but I can't say no to the dollar. So if you were the person who commented you wanted Watts on the wheel, congratulations, Dan has got your back. I am praying that it is not Watts we'll be playing, because I would rather stop existing. Let's give this a spin, baby. What are we playing next week? Oh no. Oh no. Oh no! Oh, I'm gonna have to read some cardboard. This is our YouTube supporter, Parfuki's choice for the wheel, and next week, we're gonna be playing Memento. I'd like to thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, do remember to leave a comment down below, subscribe, and all of that stuff. And if you would like a deck on this wheel, check out YouTube memberships. You can give me $5 a month, and you'll get a deck on the wheel. Remember to stay safe out there.